For Srila Prabhupada, this caring for devotees was most sacred. Because each and every one of these devotees gave their lives for him. And Srila Prabhupada gave his life for them. This is what we should understand when we approach service to the devotees. Sri Rupa Goswami came to Vrindavan. When he first arrived at Mathura, at Dhruva Ghat, Subhuti Rai met with him. And Subhuti Rai arranged prasad for him and took him on a parikrama through all the 12 forests of Sri Brajbhumi. And how Rupa Goswami was so pleased. What a deep, loving relationship they had at that time. And when Sri Rupa Goswami left Vrindavan to go back to Puri to meet Lord Chaitanya, Rupa Goswami went by the way of the Yamuna and the Ganga. And Sanatana Goswami was coming to Vrindavan by the main road. So they crossed without meeting. And when Sanatana Goswami arrived, who greeted him? Subhuti Rai. There to serve him in every possible way. This story of Subhuti Rai and how he attained perfection, always chanting Hare Krishna and serving the devotees in this holy place, gives us a glimpse into how much he valued these simple opportunities. To be in Vrindavan, to serve devotees, to chant the holy names. It's very simple. But he left an estate worth tens of millions of dollars, fine clothes, fine food, because he had such an appreciation for the value of devotional service. Lord Shiva, Mahadev, he wanted to enter the rasa dance. So he came. But in the perimeter of the rasa dance, Sri Radharani's closest associates, Lalita Saki and Vishaka Saki, they said, you cannot enter because you don't have the right mood of love. In order to have this love, you should go to Mansarovar and take your bath. And as you're taking your bath, you should be praying for the selfless, unconditional, loving mood of the gopis. Mansarovar, I think many of you will be going there during this yatra. It's just across the Yamuna from Keshi Ghat, a couple kilometers down. And when Sri Radharani was in separation from Lord Sri Krishna, she went to that place. And her tears of love in separation, filled up that lake, Mansarovar. So the great destroyer of the universes went there with all humility because he understood the glory, the greatness of Vrindavan. Who are the gopis? By social standards, they're very simple milkmaids. They don't have lots of money. They don't have big educations. Some of them are taking care of children. Some of them are milking cows. They're making garlands. They're doing the very things that almost anybody could do. But they're doing it with love, with the purest, deepest, selfless love. Srila Prabhupada quotes Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami, where he explains how Sri Radharani, she is experiencing the full love of Krishna. And she's like a creeper. And the gopis are like little flowers on that creeper. Each of the flowers, all of Krishna's love, all of Sri Radha's love are coming into each one of these flowers. Shukadev Goswami, the greatest of renunciates, way beyond Brahman realization, he exalted the gopis' love as the highest perfection of samadhi. As did Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Mahadev, Lord Shiva, wanted to serve as a gopi. He understood that this is a limitlessly more exalted position than even being Brahma, the creator of everything, or Shiva, the creator, maintainer, destroyer of everything. His Shakti is controlling the universe. And the gopis, by just making little garlands, they're controlling Krishna. When he bathed in the tears of Sri Radha with this prayer, he actually came out from the water of Mansarovar with the love and the body of Gopi, and came to the Rasa dance. And there Srimati Radharani and Lord Shri Krishna greeted him. And they could see he was Shiva, with the body of a gopi, with the bhava of a gopi. And Krishna was so happy. And when he explained the whole situation to Sri Radha, she was so happy. And they entrusted him an eternal service, where he would be guard of the Ras Leela, and nobody could enter without his blessings and permission. This story was such an important part of Vrindavan's culture that Krishna's great-grandson, Vajranabh, from Krishna and Rukmini was Pradyumna. Pradyumna's son was Aniruddha. Aniruddha's son was Vajra. And when Parikshit Maharaj was king, he appointed Vajranabh, Krishna's great-grandson, to be the local king of Braj Bhumi, or Vrindavan. with the special purpose of establishing Krishna's places here. Because he knew everything. His mother, his grandmother, his father, they told him so many beautiful things, and Krishna was revealing all of these things to him when he was here. So he personally manifested many deities. In the Vrindavan area, Madan Mohan, Radha Gopinath, and the predominating deity Radha Govinda. In Gokul, he established the Dauji, Sri Balaramji. In Mathura, Keshav. At Govardhan, Haridev. He established various deities, Srinathji, on top of Govardhan Hill, Brinda Devi, Yogamaya, Pataleshwari, and in this little town of Vrindavan where we are, he personally established Gopeshwar Mahadev and established a temple which is still here today. Hopefully we'll all go there. At the very place where Lord Shiva is eternally in the mood of a gopi, assisting Shri Radharani and Krishna's Ras Leela. This is what Vrindavan is. Lord Brahma, his lifetime is 311 trillion years. He's the father of everyone within this particular universe. In Brahmaloka, there's never a disturbance, never a problem that ever happens. It's the highest planet within this entire universal creation. He's the original receiver of knowledge from Krishna. He is the original guru of the universe. Tene Brahma Hridaya Adakaviye Muyanti Yatsurya. Yet Brahma, at Brahma Kund, where you will be going, he offered prayers to Krishna. After he completely humbled himself before Krishna, he actually had a vision of Vrindavan. Everything he was seeing before, he was now seeing with completely different eyes. Now he's Brahma. He has 8 eyes. And those eyes are, they could see anywhere in the universe. He was seeing the trees and the mountains and the landscape and the cows. But after Krishna performed his Brahma Vimohan Leela, which we will speak another night, he became so humble. He actually understood who is Krishna. He actually understood the value of this little cowherd boy. Because Krishna seemed just so simple and ordinary. At that time, he was just, he wasn't even big enough to take care of cows. He just had the calves. And he was playing with his friends and joking with his friends. So Brahma tested him. Because even he was bewildered. Because Krishna just seemed so ordinary. He made himself so accessible. Brahma's looking. This is the supreme absolute truth. Brahma's father, the cause of all causes, the creator, maintainer, and annihilator of everything. Parameshwar, Yajna Purusha. And here he saw Krishna sitting on the bank of Yamuna with his little friends. And they were all eating their prasad. They all had their little packets of prasad brought from home. And one would say, "Oh, Krishna, this is very, very nice." And he'd take a bite out of it and say, "Try it." Take it out of their mouth and give it to Krishna. And Krishna would take it from the cowherd boy's mouth. And he'd eat it and he'd say, "Oh, this is very, very good, very, very good." And then he would eat something and say, "You try this." And Brahma's thinking, this is Yajna Purusha? The demigods with folded hands, the most powerful living beings who are controlling the whole universe, they are approaching the Lord and offering the Samaveda, prayers of great reverence before him. And after years and years of offering these prayers, then the Lord comes majestically and blesses them. And these little cowherd boys, they're jumping on his shoulders and they're wrestling with him, and he's jumping on their shoulders and wrestling with them, and they're pretending to be frogs together. One little gopal would say, "Look at Krishna," and he'd show a frog. And the frog would go, jump. And the little boy would pretend he was a frog and jump. And then Krishna would go next to his friend and jump just like a little frog. And he did it so much like a frog. Ultimately, Krishna creates the frogs. Ultimately, not only, Krishna says in Gita, "I am the ability in man," he's also the ability in frogs. He's the ability in everything. Krishna gives every bird the power to fly. Krishna gives all these little lizards and spiders and insects the mystical power of walking up walls. He gives the power of the monkeys to jump from one branch to the next. But in Vrindavan, he's studying the frog, and he's jumping. And Brahma's seeing this. This is my Lord. Let me check this out. So he took all the calves and he took all the cowherd boys for 1 year. And then he said, "Let me see what effect I have had on them." And when he returned, everything was completely normal. All the cows all the calves and all the boys were just doing everything. He didn't realize Krishna manifested as each and every one of them. He would check to see in the cave, he put them all to sleep. They were still there. He came back and they were here. He went there and they were there. Is Krishna, within a second taking them from here and putting them there, or he was really bewildered. And then every calf and every boy manifested a form of Narayana, the supreme, majestic Lord of all existence. And around every Narayan, and there were millions of Narayans, and around each one were all the demigods, and all the rishis, and all the sages worshiping them. Then he was really bewildered. He couldn't even move. He was like a statue. When it came to such a point, Krishna understood. He fulfilled his purpose of transforming Brahma. Then everything disappeared and all that was left was Gopal, standing with a lump of yogurt and fruit salad in his hand, just very innocently looking, where is my calves? Where is my friends? Brahma completely humbled himself. Brahma, for the first time, understood the sweetness of Krishna is infinitely greater than his majestic power, because it facilitates the deepest love. And Vrindavan is the place where Krishna facilitates that love. When he completely humbled himself with gratitude, then his vision of Vrindavan was transformed. He saw every tree as a kalpa-vriksha. He saw every particle of dust as chintamani, more valuable than all the jewels of the heavenly worlds of his Brahmaloka or even Vaikuntha. He saw each cow as a kamadenu, a wish-fulfilling cow. He saw everything as the spiritual world. The apparently most ordinary things, that is what Vrindavan composes of, he was able to actually understand how totally saturated with love, with prem, with bhav, every particle of Vrindavan was. He wept, he cried in ecstasy. And he went and surrendered by placing his hands at the feet of Krishna. And he prayed. He prayed, let me be a mountain in your Vrindavan, where you and Sri Radharani and your gopas and your gopis and all your devotees and your cows and your peacocks and your monkeys and all of your devotees, let me serve in such a way that everyone is on my head. Let the mountains be my heads. And Barsana is actually Lord Brahma. Those four mountains, Mangar, Bilaskar, Vrishabhanu's palace, Kushobihari temple, these four places are the four heads of Brahma. Now somebody may think, how is that possible? For Brahma, everything is possible. But most of all, it's not just how it is possible. The real question is, why is it? Why is it possible? Because Lord Brahma considered to take such a humble role of just having the feet of all of the devotees of Krishna, every bird, every animal, every person, on his head, so he could actually facilitate their pastimes by being nice mountains to play on and have loving exchanges. was a greater aspiration than being the Lord of the universe. That is how he appreciated Vrindavan. And we are given these stories so that we can actually get a glimpse of how to appreciate the value of Sri Vrindavan Dham. The value of pure bhakti, pure devotional service. A beautiful story is coming to my mind from the Srimad Bhagavatam, which very much reveals the essence. Learning how to appreciate the essence of what life is for. Because the human tendency on every level is to take things cheaply. And part of taking things cheaply is when we're giving something very precious. Where only deep humility can have access. We become so attached to the external forms which are supposed to make us humble. And we put so much of our life and our energy into doing them well that we become extraordinarily arrogant about how we're doing it. Does that make sense? Ritual. People in the world today, sometimes they're disgusted with religious rituals. Because oftentimes they're done in such a superstitious way. People don't even know why they're doing it. And oftentimes the rituals, instead of unifying people, divides people. Because your ritual is different than my ritual. And I'm better than you, therefore my religion is better than yours, and my ritual is better than yours. And even if we have the same religion and the same ritual, look at how I am doing it. The ritual is an envelope. The purpose of an envelope is not to be a nice envelope. The purpose of an envelope is a way to send a message. What's within the envelope is all important. The content. And that's where Srila Prabhupada emphasizes, and all the great acharyas emphasize, our intent is what is all important. The purpose. When we have a humble and grateful heart, then our purpose to serve Krishna and take ourselves out of the center becomes the reality of our life. So it was a summer day, very hot, and Krishna was with his cows. They were roaming through the forests and the pastures of Vrindavan, and they were coming toward the Yamuna River. And Krishna, he spoke to his friends. O Subal, Shridama, Stopa Krsna, Bhadrasena, Just see how the trees, they do not refuse anyone. They are always eager to render service. He spoke a beautiful verse that the duty of every living being is, as far as possible, to offer welfare to other living beings through our life, through our wealth, through our intelligence, and through all of our skills. And just see how these trees, when it is summertime, they are standing in the sun and giving us shade. When it starts to pour rain, they will stand in the rain, and if we take shelter of the tree will keep us perfectly dry. The trees are giving beautiful flowers and beautiful fruits for us. They're giving their wood so we can perform yajna to please the Lord and make great progress in our life. They're giving us wood for our furniture, for our homes, and they ask nothing in return. Trees represent selfless service, giving of oneself for the welfare of others. And Krishna emphasized, this is dharma. To live for the welfare of other living beings without selfishness. And according to the commentators of the Srimad Bhagavatam, Krishna was speaking this way because he had something in mind. After passing through the trees, they came to the river Yamuna, and the cows, they drank. It was very cool, crystal clear, sparkling water that tasted like nectar. Now, on the external level, Yamuna is not like that. But actually, if we have the eyes to see, when we look at the Yamuna, even the way we may see what we see, in our hearts, we're actually seeing this is what the Yamuna actually is. The Yamuna is descended from the spiritual world. It's not a river of this world. The cows drank from the river, the boys drank from the river, and very happily they went into a forest of Ashok trees. I was getting late in the day, and Krishna and the cowherd boys had wandered into an area where they usually didn't go. So Yashoda Mai and the other gopis, they actually didn't know where to send prasad for them. The boys were thinking, Krishna and Balaram must be hungry. And this is the nature of love. The boys knew that Krishna's love is such that he's only concerned for us. And our love is such that we're only concerned for him. Krishna must be hungry, so somehow we have to get food for him. So they feigned to be extremely hungry. And, oh Rama, oh Balaram, oh Krishna, they said, your name is Dushta Nibarhana, which means you are the destroyer of all bad things. Well, we are so hungry. Please destroy the hunger in our stomachs, because this is a very bad thing. The hunger in our stomachs, it feels like the venom of a serpent. It's causing us so much distress. Please tell us how we could find some food. They only wanted Krishna to have food, but they knew that the only way Krishna would take it seriously is if he was doing it for them. Krishna told that not far from here there are some Brahmins who are performing a yajna, a sacrifice, called the Angiras. And it's an auspicious time for them to give some food and charity. So go and ask in the name of Balaram and me for some food from them. So the boys, they hurried to where the yajna was, and oh, what an elaborate yajna it was. There were fires burning and incense, and there was sandalwood, and there was beautiful garlands and flowers, and they had vessels made out of gold and silver and copper and beautiful colored powders, and they were chanting hymns from the Samaveda with great, great force. And the boys, they offered their prostrated obeisances to the Brahmins, then stood up with folded hands and prayed. They addressed the Brahmins, O lords of the earth. We know that you are very kind and very charitable, and you are doing this very, very important yajna for the welfare of the earth and to attain the heavenly planets. Very close by is Krishna and Balaram, and they're very hungry. Please give us some food. You have so much food all around here. You've made so much preparations. And at this particular time in your yajna, it's very auspicious to give food and charity. So please give it to us. The Brahmins were so immersed in their ritual, and they considered it so important, and they considered themselves so important because they were the priests who were conducting it. They heard the boys, they saw the boys, and totally ignored them. We have more important things to do. They were just cowherd boys. They're just children, covered with dust and decorated with all kinds of feathers and flowers and leaves. We are Brahmins. We are chanting Vedic hymns. We are doing rituals. They just carried on. And the boys were standing. And they felt very, very broken-hearted. For two reasons. Even if the Brahmins were to say no to them, at least they acknowledged that they existed. But they ignored them. It's a painful insult. But mostly, they were there on behalf of Krishna. All these yajnas are ultimately only meant for Krishna's pleasure. So they were very hurt. And they ran back and they expressed to Krishna what happened. And when Krishna saw his distress, he smiled. and explained that this is human behavior. People get caught up in what they're doing like this. These Brahmins are so arrogant. They are so obsessed with getting something for themselves through all of their religious activities that they've missed the very purpose of why these activities are given to them. In the Gita, Krishna tells, Vedaischa sarver aham eva vedyo vedanta veda vedeva cha. Everything in the Vedas, every philosophy, every teaching, every logical explanation, all the rituals, all the yajnas, all the prescribed duties, samsadhi and haritosha. They're only there to please Krishna. They're only there to help us to humble ourselves before God. Krishna said, please understand, when you're a beggar, sometimes people give and sometimes people don't give. You shouldn't be attached. Isn't it interesting that Krishna sent his little boys to be beggars and frustrated their attempts? And Krishna, he said, now go to the wives of these Brahmins. They are deeply affectionate to me. They will give you everything they have for my pleasure. So the boys, they went to the homes where the Brahmins' wives were sitting. Krishna told them to go to his Brahmins' wives. And the boys with folded palms bowed down because they looked so majestic. Because this yajna was going on, they were sitting on very fine seats with fine clothes and beautiful ornaments. And the little cowherd boy said that Krishna and Balaram, and before they could even give the message, as soon as these Brahmins' wives heard the names Krishna and Balaram, something amazing happened. They swooned. They began to faint. Their entire bodies became numb. Tears flooded from their eyes. Every limb of their body was erupting with bumps of ecstasy. And right before the cowherd boys' eyes, they saw the beauty of these ladies increasing and increasing and increasing. Everything they lived for, everything they prayed for, everything they longed for